Good morning, everyone. This is Steve Crosby. Welcome to this edition of Monday Morning Musing. The love of God. Let's try to put some identifiers on it, remembering that God's love is incomprehensible, inexhaustible, and there's no human being, including myself, who can, just point to it, say, that's it, end of discussion. First thing, God's love is costly. The expression, the experience of God's love is costly. It's not enough to believe in it topically, like a biblical abstraction of theology. That's where I spent most of my life. It's another thing to experience it subjectively in relationality. We're going to talk more about relationality in another episode. But it is a costly love, because whatever it is and however it's experienced by us, it comes from our Father with both great passion and great cost. It cost the Lord to send his Son. It cost Jesus something. So we need to understand that if you want to start talking about the love of God in the church and how we need to be more loving and love is this and love is that, that's true, that's valuable, that's on point, but you need to understand that it's going to be costly. What do I mean by costly? It's going to hurt. I know it sounds like a line from a bad pop song, but love hurts. God's love, and I'm taking this from Brad Jerzak. I want to give Brad a call out, is radically forgiving, self-giving, giving of oneself, co-suffering in its nature. Radically forgiving, self-giving, and co-suffering. For God so loved the world that he gave. And that love costs. So when we start talking about the love of God, something in us is going to be ceded or lost or given. And what can those things be? My right to be right, my right to my time, my right to my money, my right for justice, my right to be treated fairly, my right to speak my mind, my money, something in our being. If we are going to talk about the love of God, we have to understand that something from my being is going to be lost, given, spent. The Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians says this, and this is a great church definition of what the love of God looks like, where Paul says to the people who hate him and are trying to fire him and who are trying to kick him to the curb, I will spend and be spent by you, otherwise used unfairly, most gladly, experiencing the loss and the suffering for the Corinthians that the Corinthians were causing. And then he tops it off with, even though I will be loved the less for it. Man, that's a great apostolic expression of what the love of God looks like. And then if you're looking for something in the scriptures in a practical, human, relational example of what the love of God looks like in action, which, by the way, is another expression of the love of God. The love of God is not a passive feeling. The love of God is the essence of God in action. It is God's life in expression. It's not my feeling about myself, about what a wonderful person I am, how loving I am, how kind I am. God's love is action. If there's no action, it's just sentiment. It's just a feeling. And that's not the love of God. But if you're looking for like, hey, well, what Bible verses or what books are the best on this topic? John's 3 epistles, first, particularly First John, and we're going to hit that a lot. Not so much Third John, although there's some severe love that is severe in that chapter. But the book of Philemon is probably the best little letter in the entire New Testament canon. Okay, what does love of God look like when there's conflict in the community, when people are at odds, when very life and death itself are on the line? Matter of fact, I'm probably going to do that. That's a great idea. I'm going to do the book, letter of Philemon sometime, probably as a follow-up to this series. We're going to go section by section because it's a fascinating, deep, rich book, a letter, and with a lot of cultural background. But that little letter, that's what, and that quote from 2 Corinthians, that's what the love of God looks like. So that's it for today. The love of God is costly. It's going to hurt. And you as a follower of Jesus, you need to understand that. And so when bad things happen to you and suffering happens to you, it's not like you failed to use you didn't quote enough scripture to keep the bad stuff away. This is not Joel Osteen over here just promising you or the other TV evangelists that you just confess the right word long, just blessing going to fall, blessing. No, pain, sorrow, suffering, loss for others' benefit. So, as a follower of Jesus, you need to be geared up for this. I'll see you the next time.